It is our great pleasure to welcome on our next guest. It is the head coach of your New Orleans Saints, Kellen Moore, Jones, the show. Coach, we appreciate your time. Thanks for hopping on with us.
Thanks for having me.
All right, Coach. So I caught up with you during training camp there on NFL radio, and obviously a lot of different things going on during camp. But now that camp is over, you're getting ready for that first regular season game. How is like the entire transition of becoming the Saints head coach, going through a training camp, now getting ready for Week 1 been for you and your family?
Yeah, it's been great. It's a long journey through the whole offseason process, going through training camp. I thought we did an awesome job. We had a couple weeks here in Metairie, which was really fun to be down here in Louisiana, be with the fans, all the interaction that came with that. And then we had a little California trip, which was really good. As you guys know, there's a point in training camp that's about bonding and connecting as a team. And I feel like our guys were able to do that out there, which was a ton of fun. And so, through these preseason games, we've had to make some tough decisions, get this roster set. I feel like we're in a great place. We're ready to roll.
Yeah, Coach, I know it's a huge transition for you stepping into a head coaching role, and I know, and I wanted the opportunity for you to just kind of introduce yourself to Louisiana outside of the New Orleans, because I know since you've gotten to Louisiana, it's kind of as soon as the boots on the ground, you are rolling. You got a lot of things to do, and I really kind of wanted to see like how's the transition been for you, your family. It can be kind of a culture shock getting down here in South Louisiana, but how do you feel like you've been received, and just the culture in general, and how has that move to New Orleans been for you?
Yeah, it's been great. Our journey, we spent 8 years in Dallas, had a ton of fun there between playing and coaching, and we were fortunate to be there for a while, which, in the NFL is sometimes a little bit unique, just going from the playing to coaching aspect. And then we did the Chargers for 1 year, and then we did Philadelphia. And so our kids had, moved a little bit the last couple of years. And they were so excited to come down here. I think one of the cool and unique experiences for us and for so many was, the Super Bowl was down here. And so our first really experience of New Orleans and Louisiana was the Super Bowl. And so, the show that they put on was awesome. It was such a fun week. And obviously we were able to win the game, which was, the cherry on top. And so, really quickly after that, we got our kids down here, and they just had a ton of fun. I think what I've really enjoyed about this is how connected this state, this community is. It's great people, it's great experience, and it's much more of a small town college connected vibe than maybe some of the big metros that the NFL has. So it's been awesome.
Coach, before we move on to this year's roster and getting ready for the season, I know you're going to be getting ready tonight for the Cardinals, obviously in week number 1, but the Boise State Broncos got a game coming up here in a couple of hours. I mean, how are we taking in that game? Are we going to have it like on a side TV? Maybe we eye hustle every once in a while between getting ready for the Cardinals?
Oh, yeah. Definitely. We turn into college football fans very quickly still in our house. And so we got Broncos. My wife went to BYU. We got Garrett Nussmeier at LSU. My brother coaches at Missouri. He's the offensive coordinator there, and so we got a lot of screens on Saturdays, certainly throughout the fall.
I think people kind of tend to forget, because now Saints fans here in Louisiana, we think of you as Coach Kellen Moore, but we forget the recent past of finishing 4th in the Heisman voting list in 2010. You were quite the stud yourself, and I know I played with a couple of Boise State proud alumni. I played with Darren College, Corey Hall.
Oh, yeah.
Some of my best friends, Corey Hall, up there, and he used to wax poetically about Mr. Kellen Moore. So I know we're excited over here. And we're going to be cheering on Boise State as well.
Absolutely. No, I love it. It's a fun place. I was unique. It's a unique atmosphere to be able to play there for 4 years. It's a really cool place, and I had great memories there.
All right, Coach, one of the things that I want to start off asking you about is everywhere that you've been, and you listed it off, in Dallas, in Philadelphia, in Los Angeles, the quarterbacks that you've worked with, and Dak Prescott, and Justin Herbert, and Jalen Hurts, and they all had success, but they're all different quarterbacks. Like all three of those quarterbacks have a different skill set, but y'all were successful together. So you've chosen Spencer Rattler to be your starting quarterback, but I want to go kind of before that. When you're creating your quarterback for your offense, is it hey, we got a blank space here, I'm going to see what the talent looks like around this quarterback, we'll make a decision off of that? Or is there maybe like a checklist that you kind of go over and you try to implement your checklist with those quarterbacks?
Yeah, I think that's a really, really good question. I think there's the answer, which is in between, as far as, certainly there's things that you have that are your core values you believe in as far as the quarterback position. It's a leadership position. It's a toughness position, both mentally and physically. I think at the end of the day, you got to be able to make really good decisions with the football, and you got to be an accurate quarterback. Now, from there's a lot of different tools and things that you can utilize to be really successful in this league. And whether it's, arm talent, whether it's, ability to play out in space, whether the scramble drill is a big component of yours, whether your ability to run the quarterback like Jalen was able to last year. And so, we certainly have a foundation that we believe in as an offense, but you got to have the flexibility to be able to play different styles based off these quarterbacks. And so we're really excited about Spencer. He's been a really consistent player throughout this whole offseason. I think that's the thing that showed up. You saw the highlights last year as far as, he'd make some big time plays, he'd make some stuff, and the consistency as a rookie, just, he's growing in that aspect. And so this offseason, we've seen the consistency show up each and every day. And he's an aggressive, confident football player. And you don't want to ever lose that. But I think as he's grown, his decision making has increased this offseason. He's made really good decisions in football. And so he's put the offense in really, really, really good position. And so it's fun to build these systems around these quarterbacks. I think that's the ultimate thing. I really don't care if we throw it 50 times, run it 50 times, whatever we need to do to win. We'll utilize something in between those.
Coach, when you look back at your playing days and your coaching stint from quarterback coach to offensive coordinator with a couple of different head coaches, like when you were deciding what kind of offense does Kellen Moore want to install? What is my base core offense? Like which one of your offensive coaches that you worked under had the biggest influence on kind of who you are today as an offensive coach?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think, philosophically, I think it really goes back to Boise State, just our approach and, the style in which we played with. We're really creative, really innovative. We certainly were very multiple in what we did. I think, a lot of the mindset is how to stress the defense in as many different ways as possible while keeping it simple and confident for us. There's a lot of different ways of running the same plays. And so that's always our goal as we go through a season. And then as I've been able to go through our journey, just like, a lot of us who've been able to be fortunate to be in the NFL, you get to add pieces from all these awesome coaches that you either played under or coached with. And so, in Detroit with Scott Linehan, then Joe Lombardi came in as the offense coordinator. You learn, two different systems. They're awesome. Scott's back with me here. And so I've been very fortunate for that. In Dallas, you get Jason Garrett, which kind of from the Norv Turner, kind of the digit system and more of a vertical passing game. And then it was a cool transition because then to team up with Mike McCarthy, and he comes from a West Coast approach, and you're able to kind of implement some of those pieces. And certainly when we went to Philadelphia, that was probably a little bit of a style or a system that I hadn't been as exposed to as much, just with all the QB run game and kind of the RPO, RPR type world. And so it's really fun just to kind of, grab all those different pieces and keep it as clean as you can for the players. You can't, be a master of everything, but how can we utilize a few of these different tools to stress the defense?
Kellen, you have no idea.
We could nerd out.
How happy you're about to make.
Yeah, we can keep going. We can go back to some old playbooks from.
There's no doubt. Hey, you know what you're about to do this for me, okay? And I hope you have an answer. I hope you answered this question because Flynn and I have been going back and forth for a decade. I played for Norv Turner most of my career in the number system. I loved it. It told everybody what to do. You could go really fast, and I used to love, even with Phillip Rivers, country accent, we still understood exactly what was going on there. All right, so Flynn played for Mike McCarthy most of his career. He's a concept guy. He's not a numbers guy. You know both. Which one do you like?
Oh my God.
So here's my honest explanation. I love calling plays in more of a West Coast approach. But I love talking football in the digit system.
Okay.
All right. Little Switzerland there. That's
At the end of the day, on the field, I don't like long play calls. I just like, hey, this word means the X, Y, and Z. Let's just all understand that, and we're all good to go. We can be big picture viewers. But it's so funny, even today, because a lot of the coaches I've worked with at different places, still you're sitting in the meeting room, you're watching film, and you're talking about, hey, let's run a 7 route over there. Hey, let's run a 4 over there.
Right.
You're still using them to kind of describe maybe routes and different specific things. And so it's kind of funny. It's hanging on by a thread in our league. There's really not much of the digit system left, if any. But, some of us that are old enough that have gone through it, I think it's still a way of talking.
Yeah, that's a very nice way of saying, because my position, the fullback position, is already extinct. It's a nice way to say I'm getting really old, Kellen, so I appreciate it.
Well, the fullback got tagged all the time, so you didn't even have to.
I loved it. Hey, F angle, F M, F cross. Like, let's set it all up. No doubt.
You really like that system. I see why now.
All right, Coach. Let's circle back to the Saints and getting ready for Week 1. So you start the season. I want to know, going into the season, what do you think for Coach Kellen Moore? What is going to be the grading metric that you're going to use to what a successful season is going to be for the Saints?
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways of doing that. I think when you focus on the process and let the results take care of themselves, you really hammer in, our play style. Are we playing the right way that we want to play? Is it following our identity? Are we clean in all three phases? And really, are we situational masters? I think so much of this league comes down to situational football. There's so much ebbs and flows through a game, and then there's just these critical moments. And we spend so much time invested on those, and that's ultimately the thing. Put yourself in a really good position to be successful, win these games, and then when you get those chances, we got to be able to convert. And so, ultimately, we want to go to the playoffs. We want to go win the Super Bowl, and certainly, that's our goal. That's always our goal. The NFC South is attainable for us, and we're really, really excited to go get after it. And it's a long journey in this NFL season. We know there's highs and lows throughout a season. I think that's part of what these guys have to understand is that you're going to go through some really high moments, then you're going to go through a couple moments where you got to fight through a couple down games, and you just got to keep fighting through it, keep navigating it. All these great teams in this league do. Last year we were in Philly. We started off 2-2. Only lost one after that the rest of the year. And there's other years where, hey, maybe you started really fast and we kind of, it didn't finish the way we wanted. And so you got to understand how these NFL seasons go, and you just got to keep moving forward.
Coach, I do want to ask you about the receiver room right now because I like the additions that you've made there. You go out, you're aggressive, and you make a trade, and you have a waiver claim as well for a player that we all know here from his LSU days in Trey Palmer. So you've been aggressive adding to the roster. One, what does that room kind of look like to you now? And two, what's that process to make sure that the pieces that you've added can kind of get up to speed and help you as soon as possible?
It's been a really cool example of what player acquisition looks like when you take it over the course of an entire year. I mean, Mickey and his crew have done an awesome job of just continuing to add different tools into that group. And so certainly feel like we got some really premier players. We got CO, we got Sheed, to bring Cooks back has been awesome. His leadership and his experience, and he can still run past people. And so he's got great value there. But then to be able to make some moves that provide us with a ton of depth. We know the NFL season's a long season. You got to be able to navigate some things. You got to be able to play different matchups, and maybe a guy's down for a week or two. And so to get Vele from Denver, which was awesome. His size, his high football IQ, his contested catch showed up. Trey, he's just been on the tip of the iceberg in Tampa, ready to take off. It just feels like, he's made a bunch of really good plays down there. Obviously familiarity with the area, which has been awesome. And then to still have Cedric Wilson, to still have Kevin Austin on practice squad, who we're going to call up on these guys. They're going to play, meaningful snaps for us this year. We just feel like we have a ton of depth there, which is hugely valuable in this league.
Coach, last football question here for you. We see what the fans can only see the preseason games, right? We can see a little bit of practice, we can hear the reports, but I always want to know, and it's different team by team that I was on, and I was on a hell of a lot of teams, and I'm surprised we didn't run into each other at some point. We didn't cross paths. I was on almost all of them, I think. It's different. Some teams want to install everything in preseason and work on everything. Yeah. Some teams just want to install and show a little bit, and then they add the rest of it.
Yeah.
So how much of everything offensively and defensively have y'all put in? Are there different wrinkles, or were you just kind of seeing base stuff during these preseason games?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think, when you go through the installation phase, you're trying to expose yourself to as many different tools that you're going to need during the season. And that's what practice is for. And then when you get to the preseason games, naturally, it's a little bit more of a controlled variable. We want to give these guys a chance to be successful. You usually lean on, hey, is there stuff that we've ran that's on film from previous years, something in Philly or wherever I've, most recently been, hey, they got film of this stuff. It's no surprise that we've ran these type of concepts. So, obviously there's certain elements that you're probably trying to be a little bit protective of, and, whether it shows up week 1 or week 4, whatever it may be, you're just trying to give yourself as many tools as you can for the season.
All right, there he is, New Orleans Saints head coach Kellen Moore, good enough to join us here on OTB. Coach, we can't thank you enough for your time, obviously getting ready for week 1. You got Boise State to watch tonight, so I know you're a very, very busy man. Hey, we are rooting like hell for you. The entire state of Louisiana is rooting for you. Best of luck, and we can't wait to watch you in week 1.
Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck.
All right, appreciate you, Coach.